In this week's episode of the Change Guru podcast, it's all about you. I'm taking your questions and we're going to be talking about things like how to juggle motherhood and career and perimenopause all at the same time, how to finally come to terms with our midlife bodies, and also how to deal with those women who are kind of, in the office. And also I'm going to share a tip for dealing with premenstrual perimenopausal boobs. Mine feel like fembots. Boom! Boom! It's on this episode and I hope you enjoy it. The Change Guru podcast is brought to you by my books, Be Your Own Change Guru and How to Find Your Purpose After 40. They're available on Amazon, and if you like the show, buying a book is an awesome way to show your support for what I'm doing. And now, here's the podcast.
The Change Guru. Listen up. You are the guru of your own midlife change. Gotta take it and own it, don't be restricted by age. What's the number anyway? Live your dreams, don't hesitate. You're the change guru, you're the change guru. This is the time to step up, make your dreams come true. Whatever the change, it all starts with you. Whether it's life's purpose, relationships or career. Whatever the change, it's time to get what you want, what you really, really want. Make a change in midlife and still look really hot. Listen here, don't have fear. You're the master of your fate, you're the woman of the year. I mean it, change your life forever. I mean it, it's not too late, no never. I said I mean it, change your life forever. I mean it, it's not too late, no never, ever, yeah. The Change Guru, all starts with you.
Hello, welcome to the Change Guru podcast, episode number 27. It's Sue Paget here. I'm so happy you're here. Thank you so much for making some time in your busy life to have a little chat with me. And my intention for this podcast and every episode I do is to really support you in your midlife adventure and beyond, because that's the whole point. What we do after 40 can really be, a game changer in how the rest of our life pans out. So to give you, to support you, to give you some inspiration and ideas of new ways to look at different aspects of your life. And the cool thing is that I feel like no matter what we talk about here, it can somehow, there'll be something, my hope is that there'll be something that I say or an idea that I present that actually you can tweak and twist to work with something that you're thinking about and need some solutions for. So that's my intention, to just thoroughly bring it and to help you move through life in a really awesome way. Before we get started, let me do a little bit of business. Go to my YouTube channel, Susan Paget TV. I do a weekly video on all things midlife, and I do gray hair videos. I've been chronicling my adventure of growing my hair out gray for the last year and a half. I'm going to get my hair cut soon. I made an appointment, and I'm going to get quite a bit chopped off. It just feels like such old hair. I really can't wait to get rid of it. I don't know if it's going to get all the dye off or not, but today I came home from the beach and my hair was wet, and I could see some little strands of gray in it, and I was like, it looks so cool. So hopefully I'll be fine with the short haircut. I think that's what my next gray hair video is going to be about, just changing your look up and what that's like. I really don't know what it's like. Me and short hair, it's kind of like, or shorter hair, we have an interesting relationship. In the past, my hair, if you remember, those of you in America might remember Saturday Night Live, and Gilda Radner used to do this skit called Rosanna Dana, and it was just like this hair. She had this hairstyle that was like very puffy, like a poodle, and that is, my hair tends to go on the poodle side. So let's see. And you know what? I might even be open to blow drying it every now and then to get it under control. We'll see. Life is fun when you shake things up. So that's what I'm doing there. So go to my YouTube channel, subscribe to me over there. Get on my newsletter over at thechangeguru.net. I'd love you to subscribe to my newsletter. My intention for my newsletter, I consider that my inner circle. So you get, like, every 7 to 10 days, a little story about something going on in my life that I can share in a kind of big picture sense to help you kind of, look at life in a different way. But I also like to treat the people on my list kind of special. Because it is a real investment in your time and energy to open up your email and read. I know what it's like. I'm on a lot of newsletters, and it's a real privilege when someone opens up your email and reads. I really believe that. So I do like to do some little special things and give special free gifts and tell people. I wrote a newsletter last week about something very, very personal going on in my life that I'm almost kind of embarrassed to share, but I share that with my newsletter because I think it has a higher purpose. So go over to thechangeguru.net. That's an awesome way to support what I'm doing. And of course, go over to iTunes. I don't know if it's me, but this is really super embarrassing, but I'm just going to say it for the sake of telling you what I'm up against. I was looking at iTunes reviews, and I don't see one review, and I don't know if it's because I'm in Australia or what. But that's bad. That's bad. So what would really help me is if you just leave an honest review on iTunes. It means I'm so buried in the iTunes library that no one can find me. So if you're enjoying my show, just imagine if you're enjoying my show and you're getting value out of it, imagine what it would be like for a sister on another side of the world who is really going through hell right now and could benefit from hearing what I have to say. Wouldn't it be awesome if she could find me? So I'd really appreciate it if you can take the time to leave me a review and let me know if you do. Okay, let me know if you do. Okay. Oh, yeah, and come over to my Facebook page at facebook.com/thechangeguru.net. I love my Facebook page, and I posted some good recipes for an alternative to noodles, gluten-ish noodles using zucchini. My husband made a recipe, and it was so good. We're trying to really eliminate a lot of gluten and dairy and refined sugar. And what else are we giving the boot to? I can't remember right now, but I think it's made a difference in our life. It was a little bit challenging at first. I'll do a whole episode on this later on, but it was a little bit challenging. Now we love it. We're shopping at the grocery store a lot less. It's funny, when the student is ready, the teacher certainly appears, because all of a sudden I realized a block or 2 blocks from my house is an awesome organic farmer's market that comes twice a week. So you actually know where your groceries is. And you know what? Maybe it's a little expensive. I don't know. It's hard to say, but I would rather pay 50 cents or $1 more for something that I know where it's come from, and I know that it's not sprayed with a lot of stuff. So, and I think also money-wise, when you raise the quality of the food that you're eating, you go like we kind of mix between, we like paleo recipes and we like vegan recipes. So we combine the two. We're like pagans. And I noticed at first it seemed like it was a little expensive, but a lot of the stuff we buy really lasts, like big things of coconut oil or big things of cacao powder, different kinds of like coconut butter or I don't know, natural almonds. But they last a long time, and you get so much value out of them that I think that the less processed crap you buy, the bill actually starts evening out. So I'll talk about that kind of stuff in another episode. But I put some good recipes on my Facebook page so you can see them there. Okay, let's go to today's episode. Let me tell you a little bit about what's going on in my life right now. I've been working on my book. It's about my gray hair adventure, and what I'm trying to do in it is I'm taking the parallel lessons that I've learned through growing my hair out gray, but I'm also applying them to different things that happened in my life along the way. So, for example, I've started this new business helping women at midlife, and I found that a lot of the lessons of, whether you're feeling wobbly or whether you are, wondering what people think. A lot of the things seem to match, even talking about my experience with social media and, learning to do things like podcasts and videos. So it's for those, and I kind of wanted to write it from a perspective of someone who's had completely changed jobs. So, I was in one role for about 15 years or so, and then I moved into this role. I think it was 15 years. I don't know. My head feels a little fuzzy right now in that department, but yeah, you know what I mean. So I'm trying to kind of have it be layered, and also in how we feel about our self-esteem and relationships. So it's not just about the hair, and I hope that's okay. But I can tell you, this week's been a very lonely week in writing. I'm just working on a draft this has happened to me before, and I know it's part of the process, but it is like walking around with glass in my underpants. I mean, it is just I really have to brace myself and give myself time. I'll write. Sometimes it comes down to, okay, I'm going to write for 5 minutes, and then I'm going to take a breath. And I'm going to write for, it is really like, it's a tough edit, a tough draft writing going on right now. And it's also out of my comfort zone, because it makes me feel very lonely when I have to get into this mode. I can't really be around a lot of people. I really have to hunker down because I get so distracted. I really have to hunker down. So it feels like a really super lonely time. And what I do is I'll, make myself go to a coffee shop to write in public, or I'll go to the library, write in public. But something about this week, because it has been, it's been heavy lifting, and the next draft will be so much better. I know that, because I'm just clearing a lot of weeds right now and adding some new things, but makes you feel really lonely. So I'm really glad that today and this weekend I'm doing a workshop with the famous Ashtanga yoga teacher Richard Freeman from Colorado, and it will just be really good to be with my yoga friends. It'll feel really good to learn from someone who's been around for a long time, understands the body, understands the mind. He studied Zen Buddhism, Sufi. I think he studied Sufism in Iran. He, practices Vipassana, which is extreme silent meditation. So I think it'll be really good to be in his presence, and also just to be with my friends. Just to be with people will be so good. So I highly recommend, if you're in a lonely space right now, you don't attract people to you by being alone. You need to go out of your cave and get with people. You do have to make the effort to be with people. So for me, I don't really feel in the mood to do a lot of heavy duty yoga practice right now, but it'll feel really good to get hugs. I think the reason why I don't feel really in the mood to do yoga practice right now is because I'm coming into period time, and I know that I can feel like, maybe however long this chapter is, it's kind of like the preparation for the end of perimenopause. Perimenopause is the lead up to menopause. I can feel whether it's, for another couple months, another year, another 5 years, I don't know, but I can definitely feel a real shift in my monthly cycle. And one thing I've noticed, this happened last month and it's happening again this month, is that my boobs really, they feel like bullets. I mean, I seriously, I could mow something down with these tits right now. They are so painful. And it's both of them. It just feels like, I just feel like I want to have a nursing bra on. So I did something today that was just like a total duh moment. But when I was taking a shower, I just instinctively just started massaging my breasts, massaging them, and it felt so good. It was like relief. It was like when you, I don't know if any of you have ever breastfed before, but it was like, when you pump, when you have to, your baby, you have to either pump your boobs because the milk's come in. And it was just like, oh, it just felt like a relief to do it. So I think breast, and then it was when I was doing, it's like, oh, Susan, duh, breast massage is really, really great thing to do. But so if any of you are going through any sore boobs right now during perimenopause, that's definitely is estrogen related. And but breast massage is really, really helpful, because it's funny too. I don't want nothing near my breasts right now. I didn't want my husband near him. I didn't want me near him. I just really wanted to strap them down. But breast massage felt really, really good, and they actually feeling them right now. I'm feeling my boobs right now, and they're just not as tender. So it's amazing what that did to them. Oh my God, how do we get to talking about that? Okay, look, today it's all about you. I get great requests for certain topics through on email and on my different social platforms. And if you ever want to send me, if you ever have a question that you want me to answer and that you think would be good for a podcast or any of my videos or whatever, send me a note to susan@thechangeguru.net if you need it to be a private thing. And I think what I'm going to do when I answer these kind of questions, I'm just going to say first names. So I don't know if people know each other or whatever, and I just think that that's a little bit better. If you want me to say your full name, I'm happy to. Let me know. But otherwise, I'll just keep it first names. But the cool thing about these, what I really notice for these topic requests is as unique as we all are and as different as the scenarios are, they touch on the same themes. They're really all the same things. It's about self-acceptance. Yeah, self-acceptance. It's about learning to love ourselves. It's about and being open and accepting a change. So they all really have the same kind of themes. And so in these questions that I'm going to answer today, what I'd love you to think about, even if it doesn't quite relate to you, there's probably something going on in your life where there's some theme that you can tweak and use. Oh, and before I get going, I want to do a couple shout outs to some expats. Sorry to jump back and forth, but this is really important to me. I want to say hi to Anne. She's a California girl living in Ireland. Expats are so special. I know as an expat from, I live in California, now I live in Australia, and even though I'm a citizen of both countries, you're a different kind of animal when you are living in not your birth, your home country. It's kind of like you are one of the people and you're not one of the people. So it's a very interesting experience. So I want to say hello to Anne. I can kind of relate to Anne. I've never lived in Ireland, so I don't know what that experience would be like, but she's from Southern California like I am. So, hey, Anne, I hope you're good, and I hope you're nice and cozy right now. And also I want to say g'day, Kate. She's an Aussie living, or should I say ciao, Kate? She's an Aussie living in Italy. I think that's really cool. Italy is my dream country. I could live in Italy. I could really do that. I have Aussie friends that live in Italy. Half the year they live in Italy and half the year they live in Brisbane, Australia. But I think the two nationalities are quite compatible, and I hope you're. Look, do me a favor, Kate, and go and have an espresso for me today. A really nice espresso. All right, let's get to your questions. And the first question comes from Rosie. And the general topic theme is she wants to talk about, just our feelings about beauty at midlife, how do we cope with the change of body shape that comes with midlife? And what about the concept of trying to balance looking pretty and not caring as much about what others think of our appearance in midlife? It's a great question, Rosie. I think about it all the time. I was thinking about it today, actually. I was telling you I'm going to get my period, and I'm going to this yoga thing this weekend, and my body just feels a little bit low energy. And I knew because I had to do my podcast today and because I had to still work on my book that I need to get my energy up, so I should just go for a walk and move my body. And I was walking, and it was really hot and steamy here, and I was thinking about, I originally was going to go for a long walk, and then I decided, you know what, I'm going to go for a short walk. I'm going to take off my shoes and my shorts, and I had my bathing suit underneath, and I'm just going to jump in the ocean. I was thinking, wow, I've changed so much as far as the way I treat myself physically. I think in another day I would have really disregarded how I felt about myself to go and beat myself up and make myself walk up hills and stuff. And this time here I was in the ocean, just feeling like all I wanted to do was kind of heal myself. And then as I was walking up the beach, I was just thinking, my stomach's kind of sticking out a bit, and I feel bloated with these boobs, and my butt's probably a little bit, I don't know, I just gained like 5 pounds when I have about to have my period. And I've never felt better about myself in my life. And I was trying to think of like, okay, where does that come from? Where does that come from about feeling beautiful when maybe your body isn't really reflecting that kind of standard of beauty that you were expecting? Where does that come from? And I think that it comes, Rosie, from a life. I think where we are right now with how we feel about ourselves comes from a lifetime of how we feel about our beauty. I don't think that all of a sudden we wake up and go, holy shit, what happened to me? I think maybe we're asleep and for a time, and maybe we don't realize some of the things that we're doing that might have a negative effect on the way we feel. But I don't think that you wake up one day and it's like, oh my God, what happened? It's a gradual thing over time. But I think that if you've done a lot of mental work on the inside of appreciating your body, of telling yourself that you love yourself, of learning what works for your body, learning what works for your skin, learning what works for whatever, just learning these things and actually having a positive approach rather than a beating up approach. I think by the time you get midlife and the changes do happen, I mean, I can't deny it. I'm softer around the hips than I ever was. I have more cellulite than I ever did. There's no denying any of that at all. But why do I feel beautiful? Why do I feel more comfortable with all of that? And I think it's just because I've spent a lot of my life doing the inner work. And that what happens at midlife is, and we're not, and the thing about that is we're really not encouraged to do the inner work. The inner work came because I love the subject of inner work. And, I study inner work and I do my yoga practice for many years and all of those kind of things have kind of brought me to an internal space. But a lot of us are never encouraged to do inner work, and we're so attached to the physical and the outside part that we think that's all we are. And then when our bodies, or our faces, or our physical presence, when it changes, we don't feel aligned because we haven't really done the inner work to match, to kind of override what's going on. So here's one truth that I really believe in, and what I want to kind of give you, I'm going to give you, they're kind of like 3 practices, and they are also, one is kind of like a mantra in that I like the idea of saying I am not my, when it comes to our body shape at midlife, is saying I'm not my body. My body is beautiful, but I am not my body. We're not even our mind. And I think about this a lot, with my mother-in-law, Leonie, who has Alzheimer's. If you haven't listened to the podcast that my husband Dale and I did with her, just go through the archives and you'll find that. Or my dad, who has dementia. I don't look at myself or anyone else as their bodies or their minds. We're souls. And the reason why I have, or you can call it the pilot light, just that internal conscience, that inner knowing that we all have. And I know we've got this thing, and I bet we have it too, Rosie, because I remember when I was a little girl, when I was like 12 years old, and I remember thinking to myself, I don't feel like I'm 12. I think I feel like I'm 60. And I just remember just feeling this kind of wisdom type feeling that I'm not reflective of my age. I'm not reflective of my exterior body. This is something completely different. And I feel now that exact same feeling. And that's where I really put my energy on a lot of the things. So whether it is if I'm moving my body, I think, does that feel good inside of me? That when I said no to doing some hard hill work today and instead dunking in the ocean, that was me listening to that little part of my body. And I think that part of your body also really is beautiful. It's beautiful irrespective of what is going on with the meat exterior that's outside that covers us, the shell that covers us. It's the inside. So my suggestion is play around with the concept of when you see yourself, when you're looking at yourself, think about what you're saying to yourself. Are you saying, what negative self-talk is. So just automatically saying, I'm beautiful. And I do that so much right now that all I have to see is the quickest imperfection, and I just kind of go, you're beautiful. Or right away. I don't even, it's just like it's almost like a reflex right now. So I don't think that thing happened overnight too. It takes a lot of practice. And perhaps, I guarantee you, it's going to take me a lot of practice. I'll be practicing a lot from here on in. But it's a much more positive and empowering way to look at your body, to tell yourself you're beautiful, rather than, oh, you look like hell. So I would just play around with your language. Here is my homework for you, and this is my homework for all of you who feel uncomfortable with your body, and that is this is a prep, ladies. This one is a preparation for bikini time. It's literally when no one's in your home, is to just walk around in your underwear, your bra and panty, or naked for at least 10 minutes. Put a timer on if you have to. And just walk around and tell yourself you're beautiful. Okay? When you catch your reflection, just walk by and say, hey, hottie. Just tell yourself you're beautiful. Get really comfortable with being in your body, being in your skin, walking around in your body, and tell yourself you're beautiful. Tell yourself your body is amazing. Our bodies are amazing. It is amazing that my breasts are reacting to my hormones right now, and that how my body's so cyclical, and there's a period coming anytime, and it's amazing that I'm sitting here holding my microphone and talking to you right now with my arm that I injured and couldn't even hold anything with, a month ago. So our bodies are absolutely amazing, and the ultimate respect for them is just to simply appreciate them and tell them you love them. So that's a really weird exercise, Rosie, but I think that it could be fun for you to play around with. So when no one's around, stick on your undies, take off everything, and just tell yourself you're beautiful, and just get comfortable in your body. If you have to do the dishes in the nude, do it. If you have to make your bed naked, do it. Just get used to being naked and to feeling comfortable in your skin, telling yourself all the time that you feel beautiful. So as far as your question about, how do we don't care so much about what others think about our appearance at midlife, you know what? The biggest let's start with us. If we can get a handle and learn to love ourselves, then that's going to impact how people treat us. And I think that by you just starting with yourself, you may notice that you either notice better feelings from coming off to others, or you don't even give a shit about what others think about you because you feel good about you. Okay, Rosie, hope you guys don't mind me cussing. I do cuss a bit. Okay, next one. So thank you for that question, Rosie. Nikki, next one is from beautiful Nikki. And Nikki wants to talk about midlife mothers. And she writes, old mamas like me with children at home, how do we manage and cope with the craziness of work, running around with school, kids, sports, homework, housework, husbands, partners, etc., all while dealing with perimenopause and menopause, and at the same time trying to find our freaking purpose. And, is our purpose our children until they fly the coop? And by the time they've left home, will I be too old to find my purpose? So it's a beautiful question. It's actually a very pertinent question because later life mothers are the fastest growing demographic in Australia, Britain, and the U.S. And when we come to the country I live in Australia, a quarter of women in Australia, they're going to have their baby later, and they're doing it for the very first time. There's a lot of reasons for this. First of all, technology. We can do things that we can never do before. So IVF or freezing eggs or egg donors or surrogates, we can the whole paradigm of how to have a baby has completely changed. Also, women in the workforce. I think that in the last 10 years, the idea of that this is our career time, our 30s, or the time when I had my kids. I started in my mid-20s, and I never really, my career was always, I was always pretty much self-employed, so I was able to pretty easily juggle my family life with my work. But I think that's the exception to the rule of many women that had to, do the 9 to 5 or 9 to 9, and then also at the same time, either have children or put off having kids until their careers were settled. So there's a lot of layers, and man, no wonder all that. Forget menopause or perimenopause. That's exhausting. Working really, really super hard, trying to have a relationship, trying to be a mother. It's crazy, and I have to say, I think we were all sold, us women. We come from a generation, 60s, 70s, where it was all Gloria Steinem and burning the bra and women can have it all. And that's the biggest bunch of garbage. I think what I'm going to say might sound weird, but I think that in some ways we've kind of disregarded our biology in that we've let our work, if we're having children, we've kind of let our work maybe get in the way of our motherhood. Don't know if I'm articulating that the right way. Or let's put it this way, because I think, I love working. I love working, so I'm trying to put this one in the right way. I think that this is the thing. If you're gonna choose work and you're gonna have motherhood, accept the fact that you're gonna be exhausted. It's just for the women that came before us, and to say that we could have it all and not show us this magical pill that you can take to have it all. It was a real disservice. So what we did was we did our best to have it all, and then we found ourselves completely ripped and absolutely exhausted because it makes no sense. It's like having 2 full-time jobs and still not taking on all the other jobs. So I think culturally we were sold a bill of lies, and now we're paying the price for it. Of course, it's awesome that technologies happen, that we can have babies later in life, and that the times have changed, that we can have these things later in life. But it comes down again to the biology. No one really prepared us for the fact that from our 40s on, we're also dealing with perimenopause and menopause. And the reason for that is because women just generally, and most doctors generally, don't even pay attention to the concept of perimenopause. All they know is that they're just getting really exhausted. They're angry. They're snapping at the slightest thing, and they just think it's maybe the circumstances, when maybe it is, but it probably also has underlying hormonal aspects to it. No one really has told women about how their body functions, and that maybe, if you're going to have babies after 40, be aware this thing's going to happen to you. And because my experience with perimenopause was my kids were getting older, they were teenagers, I was really feeling all those things. I was kind of in the thick of my career, and I had teenagers who surprisingly needed me. It was really weird. They needed me. And I was feeling perimenopause, and I didn't even know what that was. So I can only imagine what it's like to be in that situation, but have younger kids that need all those things. They need you to be mom's taxi. They need you to remind them and help them with their homework. They need you to make their lunches, all of those kind of things. So my advice, well, I think the thing is, let's get the purpose part out of the way. Your purpose will wait for you. And I think that's a little bit of a danger of, as much as helping women find their life's purpose it means the world to me. I feel like I'm living proof that your purpose will wait for you. And that we also have a lot of different purposes in life. Sometimes our purpose in life is to raise another human being and activate the mom purpose. Sometimes our purpose in life is just to be a stable presence in a force of chaos. Sometimes our purpose in life is just to learn to practice a sense of calm and a sense of trust and faith in the process of the universe, rather than banging your head against a wall saying, "Where's my purpose? Where's my purpose?" So this could be an awesome time for two things. One is finding a way to ease the squeeze just a bit, to know that it's not that you're failing if you don't accept the superwoman myth. It's just that you're exercising extreme self-care. I also sense that that there has to be a balance between the needs of our kids and the needs of a mom. So if a child has a lot of activities and it's really draining you and stressing you out, then it might be worth looking at ways to, wind some of those activities back. I'm going to tell you something that's really, this is true. When my kids were in high school, we didn't really encourage team sports. I do have to say, we were lucky they were interested in skateboarding and surfing, but my husband and I, we really were not interested in the time commitments and the taking over of our Saturdays and Sundays for our family time because of sports. It just didn't seem ecological for our family to have that in our family. It just was a commitment, because that's the thing too. It's not just a commitment for your kid. It's a collective commitment. It's also a commitment on the part of the parents. So that was our attitude. That might be a little bit too radical, but maybe with that in mind, of saying that, hey, this isn't just a commitment for my child. This is really about a commitment for me of reducing something, like something's got to give. That would be my goal, that would be my purpose for this kind of situation, is to look for a way to give yourself some breathing room. So take the pressure off the pressure of having to do it all is off the table. I'd look at what has to be done and what actually doesn't really necessarily need to be there. I'd really do a full inventory, and I would just rather than adding more responsibilities, adding more pressure, more things to try, more purposes to explore. I just really see what happens when you let in a little space and let in a little bit of breathing room into it. You might be really surprised what happens. So maybe just think of one thing. What's one area of your life that you can actually say no to now, even if it means saying no to an activity of a kid, or saying no to some type of responsibility that you have going in your life. Just find one thing to pull away from the equation and just give yourself a little bit more breathing room. That's really it, breathing room, because the bottom line is that you're never going to get this time back with your kid. There's always going to be time for your purpose. There's always going to be time for your career. Always. There always will be time for those things, but you're never going to get those times back with your kids. And as I've expressed before, I'm really feeling those feelings of missing my children, and I'm so glad that I spent the time that I did with them and was as present as I could be with them. But man, if I could do one day over again with them, I would do it in a second. So you're never going to get this time back. So ease the squeeze, see really where your priorities lie, where are the things that give you the most joy, the most benefit out of a life. Really weigh things up and see if there's one thing that you can try. And I'd love to know if there's one thing that you find. I also want to suggest you go check out motheringinthemiddle.com. It's run by Sima Shapiro, who has Sim is awesome. If you even just listen to interviews that you've done, I've done a couple interviews with her in the past, and she's a real advocate for women over 40 because, there's new moms happening even in their 60s now. Our families have changed so much. It's not only through, IVF and surrogacy, through adoption, through fostering, through guardianship, blending step families, through so many grandparents are having to raise their kids. So this is a whole new world, women over 40 with young kids, and Sima Shapiro is a good reference, a good resource for getting some answers. So that's at motheringinthemiddle.com. All right, last on the list right now is Heather. This one is about friends, especially those women friends, and she's just finding herself that she doesn't have a large list of true friends anymore, and she can kind of classify them into a couple groups, the work friends, and they're the friends that she had for 18 years when she's an 18-year career, and then has left it to do something that she loves, which is yoga and marketing. She's really into that moving that into new career, but her friends think she's completely crazy for doing it. And then there's the other women who they want to just go to lunch and talk and gossip and all of that. And she's saying that her these friends, they just don't seem to get her. She feels like she just feels completely alone, and she just feels unstimulated by them and all that kind of stuff. And she says, she feels like it makes her feel rebellious, that she's she just wants to kind of run away. So I actually have gotten a few questions about women and friendship, and how women in their 40s and 50s especially can be really challenging to work with. I think it, again, comes the same thing that we were talking about with Nikki's question about moms who haven't been told that, perimenopause and menopause is going to happen. Same with women in their careers. It's Murphy's Law, just as you were really hitting your strides and getting into the whole career thing, your biology kicks in and you are doing a lot of stuff that's completely contrary to what we need at this time. When you're going through perimenopause, you don't want to be operating on high stress constantly, and work and upping the ante in career is a lot about, running on adrenaline. So I think that it comes down to a couple things. A lot of And I just, again, a lot of people don't know what perimenopause is. A lot of people don't know what menopause is. They know what menopause is, but they don't think it's going to happen. Nothing's going to happen to them until their periods stop. So that period of perimenopause, that time of perimenopause is, which can last, from 35 onward, it can bring up a host of things. And if you are not tuned into your body, if you've never heard of this thing before, which is really common, it's just setting you up for a perfect storm of hell, not only for yourself but for the people around you. It's pretty heavy duty. So I think the first thing, Heather, that I want to say is most women really don't know what's going on with themselves. And in turn, when you don't know what's going on with yourself, you really can't know what's going on with someone else. So that could be one of the reasons why they don't really relate to you. I know that when I left my job in television, my colleagues, my friends, because most of my friends were all in the TV business, they thought I was completely insane. Like, why would I want to do it? And I'm going to fail, and I'm crazy to want to do something that I really love. They thought I was quite selfish to decide to walk away. And you know what happened? Only one of those friends has lasted. I had to actually get to a place where I had what it seemed like no friends. I really had to strip everything bare because I didn't even know who I was at that time. I didn't even know. How could I be a friend when I just didn't? I was so institutionalized from work and so screwed up from work. So I really had to do a massive amount of soul searching, and it was super painful. I have to say, it was super, super painful. But what it did is it allowed me to go and see what kind of friend I was. It allowed me to set my standards high for the type of friends that I wanted to have in my life, so that I didn't have to be friends with people just because, to have friends. I wanted to make sure that I had friends that really had my back, that really loved me, that really inspired me, really wanted to be kind of the sum of the five people around me. So that took time to get to that place. So I used that lonely time when I was doing the transition from career to doing the Change Guru. I used that time of really doing massive soul searching. And because you are a yoga teacher or training to be a yoga teacher, you would have a lot of the tools already in place to be able to just go within, treat your yoga mat like it's like a friend, cling to that baby like it's your best friend, and use your practice as as a moment to practice trust and faith in an outcome, and to use it as your kind of that alchemist type of attitude, as you're burning away all your illusions, what is it, tapas, right? That's the Sanskrit word for kind of burning away. I think burning away our illusions and learning how to really, really get to know yourself. That's how we change, how we change others. We can't change others. All we can change is ourselves. So this is your time, Heather. This is really your time. I think also as a society, we have really embedded attitudes when people leave the tribe. I was kind of the black sheep of my family, and I think that when I moved to Australia, I had people in my family. I think I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me for a second. Keep on going until it happens. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Okay. Excuse me. I had people in my family, silly people, who did tell me, it wasn't, my marriage wasn't going to last, that I was going to hate Australia, all that kind of thing, because people really, we just don't like it when someone steps out of our of what we know, out of the familiar. And I really think that goes back to caveman days. It was probably like protection. We want to protect the people in our tribe. Like if someone, and say we're in the caveman days, and someone goes and leaves, they might get killed if they leave. There's safety in numbers. So I have a feeling that a lot of that stuff gets embedded, those fear attitudes and those cultural attitudes, they get reinforced and passed along and embedded in ourselves to the point of, even when it comes down to circumstances like this, when colleagues see one of their own say, I'm not taking this kind of crap, take your job and shove it. I'm not taking this anymore. It makes them, it really hits on a cellular level. It's like offensive, because then they have to look in the mirror and just go, hey, it's easy to take someone saying, no, I don't like this. It's easy to look at yourself. It's like a lot of the reasons why when a couple, say there's a bunch of friends, couple friends, and one of the couples get divorced, it really throws cracks into all the kind of the nucleus of that collective relationship, because people just kind of freak out that someone is going to leave their tribe. It makes them look at themselves and go, oh, could this happen to us? So I think there's a social thing going on there when we make a decision to leave the flock. And you know what is really cool about being on your own, Heather? I'm saying this to all of you that are listening, that are feeling a little bit alone right now, is that this gives us an opportunity to activate our rebellious self. It gives us the opportunity to not play a part of that herd mentality. And I'll tell you something, we have to be rebellious right now. It comes down to a bunch of things. Like, let's go back to me telling you about how my husband and I have made changes with our food. And one thing that feels really good, and one thing that's been an instigator about changing food, is it feels rebellious for me to not have to buy packaged crap or fruits and veggies that are completely sprayed and gassed and God knows what else, and how many and how they even made it to the grocery store. It feels really good to make a stand and, take matters into our own hands, start being more self-reliant on how we eat and what we're going to put on our table. So, and then on another hand, if it's very, when I did the gray hair adventure that I'm on, when I was writing my book, I was reading one little bit. I was working on this one little bit where I forgot that when I first had my hairdresser tell me that, my hair was going to look terrible gray and to not do it. And even though I was pretty sure I was going to fire this guy, there was a little piece of me that was like, well, he does cut good hair. So even though he, was really pretty brutal to me, I'll go back to him. And to say, no, I'm not going to do that. This is about making choices, about choosing who are the friends that we have in our life. It's about having the choice of how are we going to eat. It's about having the choice of, are we going to play the game of beating ourselves up over how we look or our bodies being their natural thing, or are we going to put on our big girl pants and say, hey, I'm going to love myself? So being a rebellious person, embracing your rebellious self, is actually a really awesome, badass part about being at midlife. And I'll tell you something else. People who live the longest, people who live into their hundreds, they're considered rebels. They didn't do the things that everybody wanted them to do. That's one of the things that they said that they say that they were. They're rebels. They don't follow the herd. So this path that you're on right now, where it feels like you're kind of shedding a skin, that people are kind of falling by the wayside and you're feeling lonely, which is a normal response. It's completely normal. But this is a time to really channel that and grow a sense of trust, grow a sense of really backing yourself, and to start embracing and growing that honestly awesome, rebellious aspect of you. And you're going to find, it might take a while, but you're going to find you're on a path to having awesome relationships and awesome friendships with people who are aligned with your values and are aligned with the concept of growth and change because they're aligned with growth and change. That's what they're doing. Okay, so those are some answers for some of your great questions. And if you're listening and you've got a question that you need some advice with, I would love to answer it in a future podcast or video. Send me a note at susan@thechangeguru.net. And yeah, I'd love to hear from you. Okay, if you like the show, I value your opinion. Leave an honest review over at iTunes. Let's see if I can get some reviews up there. Hey, I know you can help me. Let's do it. We can do it. Thank you so much for listening. I really, really appreciate you so much. I think this is absolutely one of the funnest things that I do in my life, and I'm really grateful that you spent some time with me today. Have a really, really great week. Thanks so much, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye for now.